Welcome back everybody, Just Mike here. Don't forget to subscribe because it's free. Anyway, we have this clock here to take a look at again. I guess again we're showing its ugly head. Anyway, the movement is a harder one to work on because the last time they built this the movement is 1950, and I imagine they changed because they are kind of difficult to adjust. So let's look at this clock again. One of the problems was the door vibrated for the bird every time it cuckooed, and I got that calmed down now, but I'll show you how to do that. And also we have when it does cuckoo, it does its hour and then it hits its half hour and shuts off. And so that kind of messes it up. So when it becomes on the half hour, it'll cuckoo the next hour. And so that kind of messes everything up. Let's take a look at this clock. Okay, on this clock, it has a count wheel in there. So let's get this thing out of here so we can get a better look at it. So this is a count wheel, and what it does, each one of these slots is where the clock is supposed to shut off, and the slot's big enough that it can still do the half hour count also. And if you were to take this wheel out totally, the cuckoo clock would still cuckoo, but only cuckoo one time each time because it thinks it's one big space. So now to adjust this thing, in order to keep this bird from vibrating each time it cuckoos, this arm here, let's get a little closer here. So this arm here, what's going on is it'll come up and it'll start vibrating. And as you can see, I have it really close to this plate here. And that's what you need, is this to be adjusted to where it will miss this edge here. And then it'll rest on here each time it cuckoos until it needs to drop to the next one. So let me see if I can keep my thumb off it. So this clock did strike once for the half hour. And now you see how close I am. I was able to just miss the top of this, and it's able to do its cuckooing, we'll say. And no, this rod isn't moving because it needs to be up into place to where it can hit its wheel that actually triggers that. I had my thumb on it, so it missed a half hour. So let's see if we can do it with my thumb off of it. Get it triggered first. I have to hold the chain also so it stays on the gear. But you notice the bird is not vibrating. And that's shutting off good. Now remember, anytime you adjust an adjustment of this sort, you might be messing something else up. So that's why I needed to see why every once in a while this would miss its half hour. And right now it's not doing it for me, but I don't have its actual weight on here. So out of the clock, it's doing perfectly. But like I say, this here arm needs to be bent down so it can ride on here on top of the plate, because that's going to keep the bird from jerking around like this as it's cuckooing, which I'll show it. Might have already showed you in the video what it was doing. See, it missed once and caught its half hour already. Now it could be the spring. This here seems to have some decent tension to it, so I wouldn't think it's that. So let me look inside this and see if I can come up with what I think it could be. Okay, so the best I can come up with right now is possibly the bird doesn't have enough tension to pull him back fast enough in order to release some of the tension inside here and go ahead and drop. Lean this forward, you can see how the bird, he doesn't necessarily want to move, but this should be okay. How far I gotta tip it? But I'm gonna try tightening the spring up here so the bird might be able to stay up. We're not falling right now because this little arm for the door's catching in here. But let me tighten that spring up and we'll see what goes on. So the best I can see tightening that up, it seems to be working okay. No, I don't have its original weight on here. Anyway, let me take the end off of this so I can actually hang the weight on here and see how well that does. Okay, we have the weight hung on here. Oh, my chain's falling off. Gotta pay attention to that. There we go. Again, don't worry about how slow the bird goes in. That wire is just dragging across the time side. So I think we'll go ahead and install this in the clock and see just where we're sitting, as in will this thing work the way it's supposed to. So this arm right here that drops down in, you have to have it the right angle so it'll want to come down in here and still have enough space to hit the half hour and have room that nothing's hanging up on it. Yet this arm needs to rest just enough to get it up out of the slot and rest on here to keep the cuckoo bird from the door from vibrating. So there we go. Let's put it together all the way and see what goes on. So I noticed running this, notice this paper here is starting to come off. So I'm just going to run a little super glue along there and hope that takes care of it. Otherwise I have to take it back out again and maybe have to rebuild them. So I think we have that one fixed, and we won't know. I'd normally, after working on a clock, I let it run for a week to make sure there's all the adjustments necessary, and so it doesn't mess up when I finally ship them back. And if you're doing it yourself, don't worry about your clock. Just work at it, leave it hang there and run for a week, see what problems it might have, if it has any at all, and bammo, the clock will finally maybe start working for you also. Anyway, until next time, don't forget to subscribe and leave me a comment if you'd like. You guys have a blessed week.